Surprise! Yes, you're in the right place. This is What's Your Story? But this time, we're going to be talking to Mary Lou Boucouvalas.
Hello.
Most of us are from away, but you are very much here. Mm-hmm. Where is here?
Here is Saco. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I grew up on the Ferry Road in Saco, Maine. I still live on the Ferry Road in Saco, Maine. So I've only been a mile from where I grew up. Yeah.
Your whole family is there in this area.
Yeah,
right?
Except for my oldest sister. She lives in New York at West Point. And, but everybody else is right around. Mm-hmm.
So after high school, was there college? Was there jobs?
There was both.
Okay.
When I finished high school, all I wanted to do was get out and get a job. But I needed to have a little bit of education beyond high school, so I went to a community college and got a legal secretary degree and a paralegal degree. And then I started working in a law firm, and I said, oh, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life.
Not enough.
Because it was things like, go get my dry cleaning, send this shirt back, things that were not legal. So, but I figured, but it was fun to work in that environment. And so when I got to work doing title searches, and I did estate work, and so in a little bit of everything. I did some car accident stuff and insurance stuff. So, but I was slowly working on my bachelor's degree. It took me 8.5 years at the University of Southern Maine because I worked full-time. Mm-hmm. I worked part-time, and I took 2 classes a semester. So it took me quite a while. But I paid as I went. When I finished up, I didn't have any debt, and I still continued to work and learn things. But as I was sort of going along, I was an English major, and so what was I going to do with that? So,
did you always want to be a librarian?
No, I did not.
That wasn't your aim?
No, not at all. As I was going through my English degree, my creative writing professor said, have any of you guys thought about what you're going to do after school, after you get out of school? And so she put a bee in my bonnet. And she said, have you ever thought about working in a library? And I said, wow. Well, libraries are cool. I love them. So what I did was I went out and I interviewed librarians in different areas of the field. Mm-hmm. And every single one of them absolutely loved their job. And they said, there's always, every day is going to be different. You're not going to make a ton of money, but you're going to enjoy yourself. And so, and I still didn't know what path I was going to take until I took a children's literature class, and that's what got me. And I said, this is where I want to be. So that was kind of an education, class, and I was taking it as an extra credit. And boom. So this woman was just phenomenal. And so that's where I put my focus. So then I knew I wanted to be a librarian in a children's department.
So that's my first question. Enter Simmons.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
College of Library Science. Mm-hmm. I'm going to read a little quote from them, just a small thing, but it says, students have the optional choice of emphasis and concentration. Example, school libraries, public libraries, archives.
Right.
And that can include children's literature, reference, rare books, and cataloging, and a lot more. Now, of all of that, where were you aiming? And you have just said it's
Yeah.
children's literature.
Yeah, so public library was my focus.
Yeah.
But I was able to take a couple of, sort of subclasses that were geared for children's literature. And I did that while I was working here. So
I remember you starting
yeah.
upstairs in
Yep.
the children's room.
Yep. So I started Simmons College 2000. And I was working here at the library, which I would highly recommend anybody if they're thinking about the field, because it makes a lot more sense when you're working in a library environment while you're going to school.
Yeah.
If you
yes.
can.
Yeah. So you were going nights, right?
I was going nights.
Commuting.
Yeah. So once a week or twice a week, I would leave here. So I'd work in the morning. I'd leave here. I'd drive down to Boston.
Yeah.
For 2.5 years, I did that.
I remember.
I listened to a lot of audiobooks. And there was a time when I had a little red Volkswagen Jetta. And there was a time when my radio only came in for, it was a Boston station, WBUR. And so I went to the polls in Maine to vote. And I didn't recognize any of the names because I kept hearing all the Massachusetts people that I was supposed to vote for. I remember that. I was thinking about that when I went to the polls last week. So anyway.
Well, you lived in two places, actually.
Yeah.
One place down there and one here.
Yeah. But it was great experience, and wonderful professors. So, yeah, great.
So back to Graves here. You multitasked all those things I just mentioned, and you do them here. Do you have a favorite area here? Just general area, not people, not work, just the feeling in your favorite area here.
I would say collection development. I would say finding the right book for the right person or the right people. And I have to really be careful because it's not my money. It's the library's money. So when I'm buying something, I'm buying it for maybe a whole bunch of people, not just one.
But you keep that people to people going.
Yeah. And so I might look at a book review in the New York Times or in Book List or Library Journal or Kirkus, and I can think about 5 people that might want to read this book, and that's a book that we would definitely purchase for the library.
Sounds like you're invested in that area, and it's not a challenge to you. Where is a challenging area?
Challenging area?
Or work?
Raising money.
Getting along with the board?
And that's okay, because it's a great board, always a great board to work with. But I would say raising money and raising awareness, I think, about money, because we are not, many other libraries are funded with a higher percentage than Graves. So we hover around 40% of our budget, and the rest is from generous people.
Well, that's good. We're not a town library.
We are not. We are.
Well,
We act as a town library, but we're not fully funded by the town. So we're not a town department. So we have to worry about our light bill, our oil bill, leaks, the furnace, programming, books on the shelf, the staff. So there's
cutting the grass, shoveling the snow.
Exactly. So all of those things, yeah. And we're fortunate to get, from our town funds, but it is something that I think a lot of people don't realize, that a lot of the money comes from
Them.
donations.
Us.
Yeah.
Where and what in this area do you want to grow or develop or alter or rethink?
Ooh, that's a big question. How much time do we have?
Well,
Those are the things that keep me up at night, Lisanne.
sure.
I think about that a lot. What is the direction? We do have a strategic planning committee that works on things. And so for you and I, we're here doing the day-to-day. But it's the stuff at night that I think about, what if we did this or what if we tried that? So a lot of it has to do with, for me, it's finding all those people that have not discovered Graves Library. So how do we get all those people that have either lived in this town or say a area town, they haven't stepped through the door yet? What's the magic bullet that's going to get them in here?
Which is very good to the next question. What's your best contact source? Website, newsletter, Facebook, local newspapers, or local people?
All of the above. I think when somebody, word of mouth is always sometimes the best. And so, if you are somebody that lives in a one-horse town, as they say, you get to know the people.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that they cross over between, say, the Historical Society or the Conservation Trust or the fire department or here. So we work together with all those people. And just by things that are happening here at the library, we sort of hope that they might spread the word, help spread the word for us. Hey, I attended this wonderful talk at the library. And maybe somebody in that crowd says, what library? What are you talking about? So I think things like that will, help. But it's still trying to find, what is it that is not bringing this next layer of people.
Well, you're hoping that people are reading what's out there in the newspapers, in Facebook, and making some connections that way.
Yeah. I think our newsletter, we have over 1,000 people that get our newsletter every Monday. And so that gives you 4 things you should know about what's happening this week. It might be something that's going on in the children's department. It might be a way to help with fundraising, like get a clink bag and fill it up and take it to Hannaford, and that benefits the library. Go on smile.amazon.com and designate the library as your charity of choice. And then just some of the little things that are, people are, they might find, oh, I didn't know that the nurses are having a talk on this day. So there could be anything that the newsletter each week has to offer. So, and we encourage people to go on the website and sign up for the newsletter.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So, but that's been a big, because we can tell who's looking at it and who's not looking at it. But for the most part, we have a good, we have over a 50% click rate, which is really good for people opening a newsletter, I think. So.
Okay, relax a bit.
Okay.
Now, on your travels, do you have a favorite place you want to go back to? Not a restaurant or a park or a bar, but a place.
A place.
Not necessarily to stay, just to go again.
Well, I would like to return to Block Island.
I was going to think it was Block Island because I know how much you love those visits, and they've stopped.
Yeah, my husband and I used to go for a long weekend in August.
Yeah.
And we haven't been in many years, but it would be kind of fun to go back there. It's kind of where, I always say that's kind of where I fell in love. Maybe that has something to do with it.
Where's a place that you plan to go, want to go, haven't yet, but it's out there and you're going to go there? Where's that?
I would like to go to Italy.
Ah.
Yes, to the Amalfi Coast.
Cook that you are.
But I think that would be my next big trip if I were to plan something.
Italy.
Yeah.
And your spare time, I know you have a few minutes here and there. Is there another skill that you'd like to explore? Like painting or ceramics or welding, playing an instrument?
All of the above.
You learn to weld with me.
I would like to learn how to speak Spanish fluently.
Oh, interesting. I feel that way about Italian.
Yeah. I use the app Duolingo. And every morning I practice 5 minutes. And but I'm not conversing.
But that's all you've got is 5 minutes. It's just spare time.
Someday.
Last question. Where do you like to read inside, outside, on a rug, on a chair, straight chair, desk, pillows. Where do you like to read?
Well, these days, I like to read in a recliner in my living room. We got some new furniture this summer, and I'm finding that the recliner is one of my favorite spots. So this morning I got up at 5:30, and sometimes I will look at email or whatnot, but because of the rain, I had a cup of coffee. I started reading this new book about C.S. Lewis, and it's a really, really interesting book. So
that's a comfortable place for
100
you.
pages later, I went, uh-oh, I better get going. I need to get to work. So yeah, it's very comfortable.
Is there anything else you want to say or share with us?
Well, I think one thing that I would like to say is thank you to you for working here for how many years now? Almost as many as me?
Yeah, almost. It's almost 25.
So
25.
talk about a tried and true friend. Lisanne and I have been through a lot. We've seen a lot. We've seen a lot of changes.
A lot of changes.
In town and in the library. And I'm very grateful for you for sticking in here with me, and I really appreciate it. That's all I'd like to say.
Well, thank you, dear friend. I'll see you around.
Okay, sounds good.